Hi guys, Labour leader Keir Starmer appeared on the Sophy Ridge show on Sunday where he was challenged on immigration and on Brexit. Starmer, back when he was a shadow minister under Jeremy Corbyn, had said that he would defend freedom of movement. He has now said that he supports a point-based system. The Labour leader was asked if he was contradicting himself by chasing one group of voters before Brexit and another group after. Have a listen to this.
More boats and also record levels of immigration. So 1.1 million people arrived in the UK in the last year. Is that too low or too high?
Well, look, Sophie, I'm not going to get into a numbers game. We need fair rules, firmly applied, and we need to distinguish between the different reasons that people come to this country. Some people come to join their families. I think, broadly speaking, most people accept that that's perfectly all right. A number come as students, and I want the best students from across the world to come here. Some arrive as refugees, including from places like Afghanistan and Ukraine, and obviously we welcome them as we always have done, and some come to work. Now, what I've said in a speech I did earlier, in fact at the tail end of last year, is that when it comes to those coming to work, of course, we recognise and welcome the contribution that everybody who comes to this country makes. But what I've said to the CBI is we need to wean ourselves off this sense that rather than skill up and train people in this country, we can simply bring people in from other countries. I don't think that's right. I think that we can do far better on the skills in this country. So I think there's...
Okay, first of all, and I'll let him continue in a moment. When it comes to immigration, the CBI needs, and businesses around the UK need the staff. And they need staff now, not in a few months' time or in a few years' time. They need staff now. And if they can't find staff in the local area, they look nationally. And if they can't find the staff nationally, then they have to look abroad. That's normal. That's how a normal society works. If businesses can't get the staff, the skilled staff they need in the local area, they'll look further afield. And further afield can mean outside the country. And this is why when the UK was a member of the EU, it was able to access staff from Eastern European countries, for example. And I've covered this before, how, farmers looking for staff to pick fruit and vegetables, in many cases relied on Eastern European workers because they couldn't get the staff in the local area. And it's not feasible to get people to relocate. That's why businesses have relied on foreign workers for so long, and no amount of training or encouragement is going to get British people to do those jobs.
Room for fair rules, for firmly applied, and for a national debate about what we want from immigration.
One of the reasons I'm keen to get your view on this is because it feels to me that you have shifted, I guess, on immigration again in the last few years. So in the leadership campaign, we can see on one side of the screen, one of your pledges was to defend free movement as we leave the EU, a leadership pledge in 2020. And then compare that to a Mail on Sunday interview. Freedom of movement is a red line for me. It won't come back under my
Well, let's just look at those.
These are diametrically opposed.
Of course they're not. Look, defend free movement as we leave the EU. Right, we've left. No, so now we've got to face the future we're in. We're out of the EU, free movement has gone. So the question then comes, well, what do you want now? Do you want to go back, or do you want to have a different system with fair rules, etc.?
This is as we leave the EU.
Yeah, well,
but this is acknowledging that we're leaving the EU and saying that you'll be defending free movement as we leave.
But we've left. We've left. And therefore free movement was part of the package for being a member of the EU, inevitably. We've left, free movement has come to an end. Therefore, a different question arises, which is what immigration system do you want now? And I think we should have a fair system with fair rules that are firmly applied. And
okay, two things to say about this. Sophy Ridge is correct, and Keir Starmer is correct. Now, Sophy Ridge said, well, you're being a little bit cynical by attempting to win over Remainers in 2020. By saying that you're going to defend free movement. And also Keir Starmer is correct when he says that, well, free movement is part of EU membership, and because the UK is no longer a member of the EU, well, freedom of movement is gone. I think the problem here is that Starmer is chasing a type of voter, probably in the red wall or in these marginal seats, that doesn't want to hear any more about Brexit. It's probably somebody who voted for Brexit and now is realizing it was a mistake, but doesn't want to admit that for pride or whatever. So instead of actually trying to, instead of actually being honest and saying, yes, Brexit was a mistake, we should try and undo Brexit as much as possible, Starmer is giving them a lifeline, throwing them a life preserver, saying, look, I'm not going to try and undo Brexit, but I'm going to try and undo Brexit in a sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you what you wanted, and I'm going to try and work around that. So as we saw before, when he said that he's going to try and wean businesses off foreign labour, this is what many people voted for when they voted for Brexit, not understanding the damage it would do to the economy. And Starmer, probably according to polling within these marginal seats and within the red wall, believes that he can't tell these people Brexit was a mistake, so he has to convince them in some other way to vote for him. And he's going to say that he's going to make Brexit work, or allow certain things to happen that were part of the vote, in the sense that, yes, we're going to impose restrictions on immigration, but we're going to also help businesses survive. It's nonsensical. Businesses need workers. If they can't find them in the local area, they have to find them abroad. But he's trying to pivot to a group of voters that he needs in order to win power. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.